Thank you so much. Everything I'm about to say is factual, so I have 19 pages of references. If anybody wants to question anything I say, it's right here, because some of it might be shocking. Nigeria, the 6th largest nation on earth, on track to be the 3rd largest by 2050. Top 5 OPEC, $1 trillion in minerals, a cultural powerhouse. Nigerians are among the most educated and wealthy in the United States, and they do it with integrity, sharing the values that made America great. Last year, General Michael Langley, AFRICOM, declared the region anchored by northern Nigeria as the epicenter of global terror. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, others call it home. Their stated ambition, full Sharia across Nigeria, and then a global jihad launch pad. The recent Old Dominion shooter was radicalized in Nigeria. Two scenarios. America's greatest African ally, innovative, peaceful, and prosperous, or the greatest security threat of the next generation, a Sharia exporting giant. A little bit of history. In 1804, Usman Dan Fodio waged a jihad and founded the Sokoto Caliphate, Africa's largest pre-colonial empire. Beheading, raping, destruction, displacement, 2 million slaves at its peak. This caliphate has never ended. That's North Nigeria. The British found two worlds, brutal Sharia north and vibrant, friendly south. They kept the caliphate intact as enforcers, indirect rule they called it, then merged the two in 1914. The South declared independence in 1967, Biafra. The civil war that followed, the British backed the North, which blockaded the South, shot down Red Cross planes. Up to 3 million, mostly children, starved to death. The South fell in 1970. Since then, power has stayed in the North by design, the caliphate. The current constitution, imposed by northern military dictator, mentions Sharia in Islamic terms 165 times. Christianity, 0. At least 9 billion a year in blood minerals are looted mainly by China, paying jihadis and corrupting military and political officials. It was President Goodluck Jonathan in his living room that leaned in and informed me about that. I know a lot of people there. I've been there a lot. Most of this is firsthand. Some key people that have been involved in this. Barack Obama unleashed the current genocide. In 2010, my first trip, Nigeria had an accidental Christian president, Goodluck Jonathan. Booming economy, only nation on earth where radical Islam was being pushed back. No slaughter, hardly any displaced people, just from random stuff. Northern warlord challenged Muhammadu Buhari, publicly called for Sharia law across Nigeria and globally. Boko Haram chose him to mediate with the government. Tinubu helped get him in office, the current president. David Axelrod was his campaign advisor. Obama blocked U.S. counterterrorism support to Jonathan, blocked other nations from helping. Jihadists flooded in from North Africa, villages massacred, millions displaced, raped, enslaved, kidnapped, churches burned. Buhari ran on ending the insecurity. It only got worse. Another person, the Sultan of Sokoto. He's like Pope and King to 108 million Muslims. Dan Fodio's 20th generation successor. He was a Nigerian general deployed to Pakistan and Afghanistan during the War on Terror, when we captured Nigerian fighters alongside Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. He returned and assumed the throne in 2006, and international terror tactics and organizations appeared soon after. He has never decreed an end to the killing or mineral looting in his domain, but he's called social media a terror organization. In 2025, he publicly supported the push for Sharia in traditionally Christian southern states. President Bola Tinubu, if that's his real name. In 1993, he forfeited $460,000 to a federal court in Chicago and fled the United States. That was proceeds from a heroin trafficking ring, which, by the way, heroin funds 37% of jihad around the world. He has appointed a man to rewrite the national curriculum whose defining credential is the book, The Islamization of Knowledge, which explicitly calls for intellectual jihad to oust Western education from nursery schools up to universities. This is academic Boko Haram by definition. And this is the guy that Tinubu put in charge of the curriculum of 50 million African Nigerian children. His new defense chief called the terrorists prodigal sons who deserve rehabilitation. That's the defense chief. NSA Nuhu Rabadu personally called me on October 5th to be Nigeria's Jane Fonda. It is documented he armed Miyadi Allah, the Fulani militia chaired by the Sultan and named in H.R. 7457 for potential FDO organization. He has publicly called the terrorists brothers. Mossad Bulus, Trump's senior advisor for Africa and the Middle East, holds multiple citizenships, including Nigerian, lived in Lagos for decades. He parrots verbatim talking points of terror-linked northern imams. He is CEO of his family company, which currently profits from multi-billion-dollar no-bid contracts issued by the Tinubu administration, issued to his business partner. He sells the heavy equipment to build the no-bid billion-dollar, $13 billion in projects. This is Trump's senior advisor. He's also Tiffany Trump's father-in-law. Examples of ongoing failures and impunity. Ngoshe, Borno State, wiped out in the Goza massacre of 2014. The government recently assured refugees in Cameroon it was safe for them to return, paid them to return. Within weeks, on March 3rd, Boko Haram slaughtered dozens, more than 300 abducted into slavery, including the wife and daughter of a friend of mine. The military was largely AWOL. The attacks continue there. Deborah Samuel Yakubu, 2022, college student. After finals, she posted on WhatsApp, "Jesus is the greatest. He helped me pass my exams." The next day on campus, as professors and police watched, she was beaten, stoned, tires heaped on her, and burned alive, while students filmed selfies in front of the flames, celebrating. The deputy imam of the National Mosque, who performed President Buhari's daughter's wedding, publicly justified the killing within 24 hours on his own Twitter account. No one was punished. Nnamdi Kanu, British Nigerian broadcaster from London, illegally abducted from Kenya, tried under a defunct law, now serving life in Sokoto prison for words spoken in Great Britain. Meanwhile, a northern imam just recently offered a 1 million naira bounty for the head of a pastor, then doubled it to taunt his critics. No charges, no condemnation from officials. I've been corresponding with the guy. He helped him get to a safe house, but he and his family are in danger and they need help. The Nigerian government goes to great expense to rehabilitate the killers, while millions of innocent displaced victims are denied, neglected, and dying. The narrative war. The farmer herder and climate change framing started in the Obama State Department. The original reference document was written by a career Sharia propagandist hired by George Soros. At least $10 million confirmed U.S. lobbying contracts are now running. Former Trump administration officials, Nigerian government lobbyists, northern imams, foreign agents, conflicted advisors, and now even Russian state television are among those working to shield this regime from accountability. The real narrative is this: Nigeria is in the throes of an Islamic conquest. Since 2009, they have slaughtered as many as 125,000 Christians and 60,000 Muslims. This is not simply a religious freedom issue. This is national and global security. The emergency: as many as 10 to 12 million, mostly youth, are now displaced. 50-60% chance of radicalization by 2030 without intervention. Most are denied by the government, who call them beggars and criminals. Without intervention, this could yield 5 to 6 million more jihadists over the next 5 to 6 years. Intervention is not hard. The international community has the money and the mandate to help if the displaced are simply recognized. In 2015, the UNHCR documented multiple displacement camps in Abuja. Today, they deny those camps exist. I have run schools in those same camps since 2020. They do exist. I affirm the cycle of violence is not inborn or inevitable. A lot of Americans write it off. Oh, that's just what they do. Yes, the children who saw their parents hacked to death often come to our schools wanting to go back and get revenge, but I can tell you, with an education, they gain character, hope, and vision, and they want to go back to rebuild.